one seed and nurture. Info's there if you're reading further. What? Leave them nervous. Slap when me, I'm a seasoned curber. Pressurize them, yeah, I'm breathing. Pressurize them, yeah, I'm breathing firmer. Breathing check. Inside out is a reading step. Radar, but they don't see your threat. Tell them that they need more tech. Tell them not to go up their tactics. Credentials, I can't read them yet. Some rooms to remain on the ladder. But man like me, I'm a seasoned vet. Yo, I said seasoned pro. What? Yeah, think never don't see them go. Yeah, I said seasoned master. Moment me when I spot that far up. Moment me when I seasoned capture. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned done. What? Yeah, we seen them arrive and we seen them gone. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned chef. Seen them arrive and we seen them. I said see them arrive and we see them left. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned pro. What? Yeah, victim never y'all seen them go. Yo, I said seasoned master. Moment me when I spot that far up. Moment me when I seasoned capture. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned done. Yo, seen them arrive and I seen them gone. Yeah, what? I said seasoned chef. Seen them arrive and I seen them. I said seen them arrive and I seen them left. Action freeze, don't be that person. Roll time, this one see the nurture. Info's there if you're reading further. What? Leave them nervous. Slap when me, I'm a seasoned curber. Pressurize them, yeah, I'm breathing. Pressurize them, yeah, I'm breathing firmer. Breathing check. Inside out is a reading step. Radar, but they don't see your threat. Tell them that they need more tech. Tell them not to go up their tactics. Credentials, I can't read them yet. Some rooms to remain on the ladder. But man like me, I'm a seasoned vet. Yo, I said seasoned pro. What? Yeah, picture never y'all seen them go. Yeah, I said seasoned master. Moment me when I spot that far up. Moment me when I seasoned capture. Breathing check. Inside out is a reading step. Radar, but we don't see your threat. Tell them that they need more tech. Tell them not to go up their tactics. Credentials, I can't read them yet. Some things to remain on the ladder. But man like me, I'm a seasoned vet. Yo, I said seasoned pro. What? Yeah, picture never y'all seen them go. Yeah, I said seasoned master. Moment me when I spot that far up. Moment me when I seasoned capture. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned done. What? Yeah, we seen them arrive and we seen them gone. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned chef. Seen them arrive and we seen them. I said see them arrive and we see them left. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned pro. What? Yeah, victim never y'all seen them go. Yo, I said seasoned master. Moment me when I spot that far up. Moment me when I seasoned capture. Yeah, yo, I said seasoned done. Yo, seen them arrive and I seen them gone. Yeah, what? I said seasoned chef. Seen them arrive and I seen them. I said see them arrive and I seen them left. Action freeze, don't be that person. Roll time, this one see the nurture. Info's there if you're reading further.
Back in the game, back in the field, started my day, keeping it real, one of a kind, got the appeal, put in the work, I'm never gonna fail, feel like a giant, big as Goliath, king of the jungle, heart of a lion, I've been preparing for war, they coming for me, then it's about to get violent, I don't let nobody speak on my name, teach them a lesson, don't try it again, I work too hard for what I became, whole lot of enemies, acting like friends, I don't need any advice from people who never step foot in this life, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time to listen to what they are saying, where were they at when I was by myself, where were they at when I needed help, where were they at when the bills weren't paid and they didn't believe I'd make it here? moving forward. I don't need anyone bringing me down. To me, they building a fortress. If they be breaking and entering, then I'ma leave them. Keeping the sword whenever I'm ready for battle, then they'll be ending up. I'm talking lyrically, I'm not promoting no violence. I'd rather have peace the most. I've been feeling kinda lonely. I don't wanna talk cause nobody really know me. Carrying a lot on my shoulders and I know that I'm alone. I've been dealing with my nightmares every time I'm looking and it's right there. I cannot hide from anything, I gotta let it go. I be pushing them away, I guess I'm better by myself. I be trying to put a finger on it, but it's hard to tell what the problem is. Fighting my way out of it, I ain't giving up because I came a little too far to quit. Yeah, they say that time heals everything. I waited for a while, trying to fit into my shoes. Bet you couldn't walk a mile, cause this life ain't what it seems. I think the devil got a hold of me, yeah. I've been feeling kinda lonely. I don't wanna talk cause nobody really know me. Carrying a lot on my shoulders and I know that I'm alone. I've been dealing with my nightmares every time I'm looking and it's right there. I cannot hide from anything, I gotta let it go. I think success is like a drug and I cannot get enough. I be trying to say I'm good, but I'm calling my own bluff. I done seen a lot of highs, but I visit rock bottom every once in a while. I be feeling like I'm nothing. I be trying to get outside of my own head, it's my enemy. Talking to that voice, hearing everything is said to me. Tell me I'm not good enough or tell me I'm the greatest. It be going back and forth depending on whatever day it is. I've been feeling kinda lonely.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. And especially, I gotta add that to. I gotta add a bit lift button onto the stream deck to bring you in, Jason. Happy 2026, buddy.
Happy 2026. It's great to be here.
I can't believe how fast 2025 went by, dude.
I know. I was thinking a lot about that in the last 2 weeks. I was thinking about what was I doing last year at this time and trying to sort of reminisce about it, trying to understand, did I memorize everything that happened this last year? Or did it just fly by?
Are you a goal setting person?
Yes. I'm a big believer that if you don't set goals, you don't know what you're shooting for.
Yeah. If you can't measure it,
Yeah.
What is it? If you can't monitor it, you can't measure it, right? Type of thing.
Right.
So did you accomplish your
that's
goals last year?
We did. We worked hard. We accomplished our goals. I'm pretty happy for that. I'm pretty happy about it. But I also think that you have to kind of take a moment and just rest after you've accomplished your goals. You need to reward yourself.
Yeah. Did you go? I was about to ask if you went fishing, but then I realized that the lakes are probably frozen over this time of the year.
Well, the cool part is the inland lakes. There was a bunch of ice shanties out. I did get to go up north for a couple of days last week. But I didn't get to go ice fishing. I thought about it, but it's a little cold out, and we kept getting lake effect snow. So. If you're gonna go ice fishing, I'm a big believer in an ice shanty, a heater, some food, you might as well just kind of move the whole hotel, resort and spa out on top of the ice.
But I gotta ask something. If you put a heater out on ice to go ice fishing, aren't you just welcoming a disaster?
No, no. As a matter of fact, see, there's this principle that heat rises. So when the heat rises, it does not affect your ice below you. It's crazy.
I never went ice fishing when I was in Chicago. I
Oh my
watched
gosh.
it. I watched people, like, I was from the shore, like, y'all have fun out there, but I never went ice
Yeah,
fishing. I never walked out on the ice. Like, I definitely have a deathly paranoia that if I had walked out there, that'd have been the day that the ice would have decided to crumble out from underneath my feet.
yeah. Typically most of the time, like in the middle of January and February is typically pretty decent ice fishing. It totally depends on the thickness of the ice and the weather patterns and all of that. You've got to watch that and be careful. I too, I agree with you. The first time I walked out on ice was very nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Um, the worst type is when you're walking on clear ice and you can
Okay.
see the ground.
Okay.
It totally messes with your mind, your emotions, and everything. The best kind of ice is when you can't see the ground, and you just see all this thickness. So, but there was a couple hundred
I imagine
shanties,
I imagine
you
the
know,
worst type of ice is the type that when you step on, it crunches
it breaks.
underneath your feet.
Oh man, yeah. We're gonna have to get you out ice fishing.
No, not likely, buddy. Not likely. I'll tell you what. I tell you for the gram, I'll put a golf ball on the ice and I'll hit a golf ball off the ice, and then
There
I'll
you
be back.
go.
I'll be back on shore after that. Like, that's it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Is it? All right, I'll take your word
Yeah,
for it. I'll take your word for it. Well, here we are, 2026, a year of cyber threat briefs officially, because I'm pretty sure we
yeah.
started at the first of the
High
year
five
last
there.
year. Um, I'm excited to do more of them with you this week. Let me just, like, I know we haven't really talked much since the last stream, and rightfully so. I didn't want to talk to you. I wanted to enjoy my vacation without really having to have a
Yeah.
conversation with you. But I want to absolutely say, I'm looking forward to another full year of sharing our perspectives on the community, our perspectives on cyber, perspectives on the threats that are happening out there. Looking forward to do that with you every week for the next 365 days, next 52 weeks.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I was thinking about this morning, and we've accomplished a year. And I was thinking, man, it's really going to be something when we've accomplished like 2 years and
Yeah,
3 years and 5 years.
yeah,
And it's not about just you and me showing up to talk to one another. It's great that other people join in on our conversations and chat. And so, welcome, chat. And it's been nice. I mean, I can't tell you, like, you learn every day, right? So as we are watching this space unfold in front of us, researchers develop new things, um, software development teams creating new things all the time. And then you see the exploits and the 0 days and all of the angles and the nation state hackers. Like, man, I, I'm excited about learning every day.
absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of that, I want to jump in. There's something I want to chat about first that's on my mind. And I want to remind chat. That we do not talk about politics inside of chat whatsoever.
There are rules.
There are rules. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot my intro. Rules, blah, blah, blah. Don't be dumb. There's the rules. We're going to do the abbreviated rules version for the day. Blah, blah, blah mods. Yay, W mods. Blah, blah, blah. Drop questions in chat and we'll chat about them. Blah, blah, blah. You've heard it. All right. If you're new here and you haven't heard one of these streams or the rules, hold on. I just got a text message. I'm just making sure nothing's broken.
One year later, and it's kind of like the second baby. The
What?
second baby, you skip the worrying about the diapers and keep ultra clean. And everything. 1 year later, the rules are blah blah blah. Don't be stupid.
Well, I've been given the rules brief for 5 years. And so,
Yeah,
like, I used to have it in a script right here. And then I was
right.
like, I got bored telling the script. And so I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to YOLO the rules brief. And so now I've gotten to where I just absolutely YOLO the rules brief altogether.
Uh,
All right, so don't be dumb, don't be stupid, don't say stupid stuff on stream. Jason and I hear questions, blah, blah, blah. No politics in chat. And I realize that this is challenging because it is a highly politicized environment, but I want to remind everybody that we're here to talk about the cybersecurity aspects of things. And so with that being said, let's talk about this Venezuela thing that happened over the weekend, because there was actually a cyber-related activity, I believe, it has yet to be confirmed, but I have a strong suspicion that there was a cyber-related activity that correlated with the attacks on Venezuela over the weekend. We heard from the administration that they, executed an attack on Venezuela over the weekend. And as a precursor to the kinetic attacks, there was a disruption of the electronic capabilities of Venezuela ahead of the kinetic attacks. And upon hearing that, I was almost unequivocally certain that they had deployed cyber capabilities to shut down those electronic capabilities. It very much rang very, very true of scenarios that we trained for and op boards that we executed against when I was in. One of the things that I think, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up was because oftentimes we in cyber view cyber capabilities as we are the weapon, we are the thing that happens in a cyber warfare, when in reality, what you saw this weekend, if it was indeed a cyber weapon that was deployed as a precursor to the attack, that's exactly how cyber is used in the armed forces, where it's used to augment or enable kinetic warfare by, disabling power grids, shutting down surface-to-air missile systems, shutting off radar towers and things like that, so that those kinetic forces can make it through and execute their kinetic mission. And so I'm almost like, I'd bet you a nice steak dinner somewhere, Jason, that if we were ever to learn the truth, we would find out that there was cyber capabilities that were deployed to disable the electronic capabilities of Venezuela ahead of that kinetic attack.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you here at all. I mean, I think that when President Trump, talked about, we have these capabilities and these skills, and he sort of gave a little bit of a hat tip, right?
Yeah.
Turning the lights off and making it dark and deadly, right? Yeah. These words that were used were sort of that hat tip to, let's be honest, most government organizations aren't going to come out and say exactly 100% of what took place. They're layered approach. But in this case, there were some nuggets, some Easter eggs in there, if you will.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that again, because this is a great opportunity to talk about, like, those capabilities didn't just develop the 24 hours ahead of the operation on Saturday. I think it was Saturday when it happened, right?
Saturday, yep.
What would typically happen is there would be some tasking would come down to TAO. Some tasking would come down to the organization that is designed to gain access to systems. They would have intel'd, profiled, identified vulnerabilities. They would have done what was called OPE, which is operational preparation of the environment. They would have gone into the respective systems, and their goals and objectives were to gain a foothold into the systems that would have enabled them to execute those capabilities, and they would have maintained those connections until it was time to execute those capabilities. Probably what happened from a U.S. Cyber Command, if I were guessing. They were on a normal shift. They probably had somebody already assigned who is, an expert in whatever type of implant that was inside of that organization, whatever type of infrastructure. They probably had a Spanish-speaking intelligence person that was sitting next to them. They would have gone in and they would have been in those systems at the time that operation was going on. They may or may not, and this is always the challenging part because of compartmentalization. They may or may not have even known that they were doing that operation at all. They just knew that at some point in time they were going to get a signal that they were to execute some command. They probably didn't even know that they were inside of, a system, a particular target or a particular type of system, they would have just said, okay, execute the command now. They would have executed the command, and they would not have known anything else that happened on the other end of that 1 and 0 until after the operation was over.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see some folks actually even in mentioning that back in mid-December, there was a cyber hit on the PDVSA oil infrastructure that Venezuela actually blamed us on, right?
Mm-hmm.
They blamed that activity on the U.S. at that time, and that was back in mid-December.
Yeah.
So now once you see the whole events unfold, you actually say, okay, well, we were probably doing some exercises then
Mm-hmm.
in preparation for the January 3rd event.
Yeah. Let's flip that back over. When you see that, and this is the cyber relevancy piece here for us as defenders, that's how easy it is to use cyber ahead of a kinetic attack, and you will have no idea that that nation state cyber forces have been deployed ahead of them executing an operation.
Yeah, you think about it, mid-December, right? January 3rd. Think about the timeline. You had about half of a month. If they were doing really good cyber hygiene, how come they didn't detect, the activity was there?
Yeah.
A foothold was in place. Those types of things. So that's why we're here to talk about this is to try and protect your environment that you're protecting every day inside your organization, making sure that you're looking out for things and activity that should help you understand, hey, this could happen to you depending on what organization you are and what data you hold.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. I'll use that language. I think it's interesting. I think we can learn from these things and apply them to our organizations internally.
I definitely do. I love when we get to see cyber in warfare, because I think this is exactly how cyber is intended to be used in warfare as a supporting weapon system to kinetic effects.
Right. Yeah, and and it goes like I actually think that as we have seen even attacks on U.S. infrastructure in the past, I believe at some level those were exercises.
Oh yeah.
Hey, could we get into U.S. based infrastructure as easy as we've seen this carried out? Now, I use the word easy very lightly here. I understand that there was complications. It takes highly skilled individuals, and you have to prep and plan this. But I think that it was also, if I could use this language, I think it was very cool to see the program play out. Right, like you mentioned, timing is everything. The individuals or the team or the one person may not have known exactly what they were doing, but that they knew that they just needed to execute this particular task. And
so I think the only thing that I would tweak about what you said is when we see those, I don't want to call them attacks, but when we see those incidents happen, Colonial Pipeline, when we see, when we see infrastructure go down in the Northeast power grid, when we see, to your point, the Venezuelan, gas company saw something that happened in mid-December. From my experience internally, those are accidents. Those are weapon misfires. So real quick, right? Take Metasploit as an example. Metasploit, the NSA's version of Metasploit, is a weapon system. It's like an M16. It's like a handgun. It's like a shotgun. It's a weapon system. It's like a missile launcher. Nmap, you can laugh all you want. There is an entire catalog, or at least there was when I was in there. Again, I can't speak to currency, but when I was there was an entire operating manual for Nmap equivalent at the NSA as a weapon system. And so when you realize that every tool that you use at the agency is a weapon, you have weapons officers, you have weapons controllers, you have weapons specialists in cyber, just like you would if it was a plane or a bomb or whatever the case is. When you see those accidents, I would again bet you a nice steak dinner. Those are misfires. Those are weapon misfires.
Yeah, I appreciate the correction there, because I see from your angle what you're talking about. If the weapon never would have misfired, right, it would have gone unnoticed.
That's
and
right.
That was the whole plan.
That's right.
So I get what you mean, and I would agree with you. At some level, those are probably misfires.
Yeah. Like the goal of nation state actors is never to fire never to be detected. Yeah. Like if you can fire a weapon without ever having any type of hey, who's there type of happening,
right?
That's the perfect scenario.
Yeah. We'll take this angle for a second, though. What if one of these nation state attackers, actually did want to say, "Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Hello."
Yeah.
So would you still consider that a weapon misfire, or would you consider that like a shot across the bow, like a warning?
So what from the way that I have always experienced as part of that, there will be an op that comes down, and that op will have a desired effect.
Mm-hmm.
In the military, we had and I'm going to butcher the 5 Ds. You can go Google this. I know it's deny, degrade, disrupt, destroy, or deter, I think is what it is, like the 5 Ds.
Yeah.
And so every cyber op, the mission objective had to map to one of those 5 Ds. So if there was a shot across the bow, as you put it, let's hypothesize. And again, we're not a political channel. We're not here to talk politics, but we're going to completely and totally hypothesize. Let's say that the United States and China are in heavy negotiations over NVIDIA chips or something like that, right?
Right.
A typical shot across the bow would be, in the midst of those negotiations, we would see some cyber effect against Taiwan. It wouldn't necessarily be against the United States, but we would see some cyber attack against Taiwan that would be littered with the appropriate fingerprints of China. Like it would be very, very obvious that it was Chinese APT.
Mm-hmm.
And it would do just enough of the 5 Ds to where we would feel some short-term pain as part of it.
Right.
And so those types of effects is oftentimes what we refer to when we know whether it was a misfire versus a shot across the bow. It's entirely reasonable that a Colonial Pipeline type of scenario was a shot across the bow for that type of behavior.
Right.
Because we felt effects as a result of that ransomware attack.
Right. Yeah, and that's, we may never know.
No.
Like, here we are a couple of years later in the Colonial Pipeline thing. Now some things were said publicly,
Mm-hmm.
right? They claimed, for one moment, we'll talk about that, even though we talked about it before, is they mentioned
Mm-hmm.
that, the ransomware gang didn't even realize who they had, hit.
Yeah.
And then, the money was still in the wallet, yada, yada. Right.
Yeah.
And you could hypothesize and sort of, go about this a whole bunch of different ways. I think it probably falls into one of the two camps that we've just talked about.
Yeah.
It was either a misfire or it was one of the 5 Ds, that we're talking about. And it created some sort of warning, shot across the bow type of thing. I can't imagine, even if you did hit Colonial Pipeline, that they would have some sort of empathy, and they would have collected their money and moved on. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying, I'm definitely not in the camp that Colonial Pipeline was a precursor to a nation state attack, but you could look at the Colonial Pipeline incident and that would be a case where, it would be reasonable to assume that that type of whatever happened with Colonial Pipeline could happen as an effect-driven shot across the bow. We did actually see that. We've seen two of those. We've seen two of those that I know about, and one of them, which was super early in my cyber career, but there was a Northeast Power Grid, which is still to this day considered to be a shot across the bow by the Chinese. Nothing again. This isn't a slant against China. This is public knowledge.
Facts.
There was a water treatment facility plant in Australia. I don't remember who they attributed that one to, so I won't speculate, but that one was strongly believed to be a shot across the bow at Australia for something the Prime Minister had said. And then dating back into, I think it was the early 2010s, 2008, somebody would have to fact check me on this, Estonia, prior to Russia launching attacks in Estonia, they DDoSed every internet endpoint coming out of Estonia and completely shut down the entire internet of Estonia through cyber warfare before they launched kinetic attacks in Estonia. So that type of thing it's very much an effect-driven type of activity.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. You know, we're starting to see this. I wasn't sure if you saw, but like in the past week, these two U.S. cybersecurity pros, Ryan Goldberg and Kevin Martin, pleaded guilty to being affiliates of Black Cat gang, right?
Yeah. The ransomware gang, the ransomware gang gang.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. Okay, you know, you're US based, you're an affiliate to a group like that.
And they were working for a really predominant consulting company. They weren't like Jim Bob and his uncle out in Tennessee, you know. No offense if your name is Jim Bob and you're somebody's uncle in Tennessee. I'm just saying they weren't working out of their basement.
Yeah. So it's interesting here. These folks are still on US based soil from time to time.
Talk about what it means to be an affiliate with a ransomware gang for a moment.
Gosh, yeah. You know, I'm just wondering, do you have a contract? You know, do you, how does this work? You know, is there an MSA in SAL? You know, who's the governing law?
Who has the T's and C's for it?
Yeah.
Do you wonder, do the affiliates have to pass a SOC 2 before they're authorized to launch ransomware attacks on behalf of Black Cat?
Yeah. Can you show me your credentials, certifications, and your last audit? You know, I sort of wondered about that myself. Obviously, I think that these groups, you know, kind of probably play in. You know, it would be interesting to sit down with them at some point and have a little Q&A. You know, did you get like a $25,000 down payment? You went to work, and when you delivered some other payloads, you know, you got paid, you know, $1 million here, $2 million there. You know, like how's it actually work?
The story goes, if you're not aware of this, chat, the story goes is that these two consultants were incident response consultants for a cybersecurity consulting firm. And so they would go and consult with companies, and then they would launch Black Cat ransomware against these target companies, and then they would sell them cybersecurity consulting services to do cleanup, negotiate the ransom payment to themselves and their security consulting company.
I think that's you've got to have some pretty brass, you know, brass guts in order to do that. Because
does it worry you?
It does. You know, I'm of the opinion if there's two individuals out there doing it, there's probably more.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
So,
100%.
you know, the person that you're sitting across the table from, do they really have your best interest? You know,
is this what you're thinking about when we're on calls together?
Exactly.
Do I trust Neal?
Yeah. But you know, I think this is a little bit part of the problem. Even we get this. We get some pushback. People are, and I don't fault them for it, because this is what's happened. We have created an environment where trust has to be earned over a long period of time. It's not like, okay, well, we signed our MSA and SOW with you. We trust you guys. Here's our environment, and we know that you're going to do the best for us, because then situations like this crop up, and then I don't blame them.
Right. But I mean, that doesn't change the fact that you still have a job to do.
We still have a job to do. I think that this is where, I think patience comes in, right? Patience comes in when people ask you, things repeatedly to make sure that your story is consistent and the same. Make sure that you're actually doing what you're doing, check in on you. We shouldn't have a problem with customers, checking in on us and checking up on our work. By the way, they are paying us, and we do have that type of relationship. So, I'm always a proponent, and I think it's advantageous for customers to check in on us.
So let me ask you this: is there a concept? And I'm asking you this. You and I have not had this conversation, so I'm asking you this, having not prepped you for this question whatsoever. So this is. Let me know if this is out of bounds. Do you have this idea where, as this story is unfolding, as this story is happening, are you going out and talking to your customers? Are you saying, hey, we know that this story is making its rounds. We know that this raises the concern of insider threat. This raises the concern about whether you can trust BitLift. Are you forward leaning, or is this a scenario where it's like, well, if I don't talk about it and they don't bring it up, if we don't highlight it, maybe nobody will really pay attention to it type of thing?
I am all about talking about it and getting ahead of it. I feel like we do a very, as good as job as we can on communicating with our customers as a community. We send out emails that share our concern and our position on topics. We hold phone calls with them. We set up calendar time and try and have verbal conversations with them so that it's not always in an email. But I think you can relate to this. There are some customers that are very open and receptive to what we're saying. And then there are some customers that they can barely make time for us.
Right.
They are either so busy, they have so many things on their plate. They just sort of say,
if it's not on fire, we just don't really care.
Yeah. If it's not on fire, I am super swamped, got a lot of tasks. Let me know when things are on fire. And so those people, we send the email and we hope that they read it. We offer up, obviously you can always reach out to us and get calendar time with us and have a verbal conversation. But yeah, I think that's, running BitLift now for 10 years. I think that it's just kind of amazing to me. But even as your cybersecurity company that, we're asking for some time on your calendar and then we don't hear back for like a week or two. It's like, what if there was like really a major incident going on and we didn't hear from you?
Let me ask you a different challenging question. If there was regulation to come down that said every cybersecurity person must be licensed like a doctor, and let's say that there was a firm belief that licensing a cybersecurity professional like you would a doctor or a nurse or an accountant or a lawyer or something like that would help reduce this type of activity. And again, I know it wouldn't. We still have doctors that do, medical fraud. We still have lawyers that do legal fraud. We still have accountants that do money laundering and fraud. So I'm not here to say that those types of systems have proven to be.
We still have daycares that do daycare fraud.
Jason.
Hey,
Jason, don't make the mods ban you.
we're just talking about fraud.
Right.
That's all.
Right. So I'm not here to advocate that licensing reduces fraud by any stretch, but if there was a regulation that came down, how challenging would that be for BitLift to have to license everybody in the SOC to prove that you could be trustworthy as cybersecurity individuals?
Well, I think that if something like that took place, one, I would be for it.
Mm,
And here's why. Today, you could literally either go to college or not go to college.
hmm
And within entering, somebody enters the organization, right? The individual could be 18 years old, could be 20 years old, get a entry level job, and in a year or two, call themselves, either this, and I say it loosely here, but like you could go from a junior individual to a mid level individual to a
Sure.
senior level
Every
individual.
2 years on a
And
5-year path, you could be a senior in no time.
right. And so what happens is that when you're talking to this individual on the other end of the phone, email, what have you, communication method, you don't know sort of the level of the bar that has been set.
hmm
And I let's use the bar exam, in the attorney world, and I think that sets the bar, right? You either passed it or you didn't, right? And I think that these organizations that are out there, I think it would sort of, um, to use some old terminology, it would separate the adults from the children. You know, um, because there's the other thing. I have looked at companies. They start up on this idea and premise. They have very little background, very little years of experience.
hmm
Next thing you know, they plaster a whole bunch of logos
Oh
all over
yeah,
their website,
yeah.
and they call themselves the next best thing since sliced bread.
Yep.
And what it does is it causes confusion in the space. So I think licensed individuals that have to set some sort of they have to pass
hmm
some sort of bar, some sort of line in the sand that says this, you have achieved this level. Certifications, like in the cert world, you know, kind of sort of have done this. If people are there saying, well, we have certifications. Yes, but certifications has also kind of hugged up against the line of pay to plays in some
Yeah. Oh
ways.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And then it's, well, you got a certification on a
Talking to you,
product.
ISC squared.
It and so that's why, like, when my team members say, well, do I need to get certifications in order to excel at my job? The answer is yes and no. It's sort of like, are you an expert in this particular thing, this particular area? Yes. Okay. Well, go get the cert, get it done, but don't think that the cert is like the holy grail
hmm
of what you're doing.
hmm
It is truly going to be your experience, your depth of knowledge, your ability to use your skills 100% back and forth without involving anybody else, right?
So
Knowing it.
speaking of those skills, this is I've got two tangents here on this one. I did send you this tweet over the holiday where in the world of AI, what is emerging as the thing that AI can't replace is experience.
Yeah. Which I totally love that somebody said that, and it wasn't me, but I love it because it is 100% true.
Yeah.
The thing that, like, we're not talking about right now is AI is like, it's still learning and reading. And oh, by the way, it needs humans to interact with it for it to learn, and all of these advancements that it's making as much advancements as hardware can,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But they are trying to get it into every human hand possible so they can become more human like,
Yeah.
right? And it's because it needs this intellect up here and the ability and the train of thought and all of those things. So wait a minute. What is that? Right? I mean, that is, you would pay an individual that has been 20 years, 30 years of experience because they have the experience. They've sat in that chair before, heard the many angles, and they know the path forward. Come back to your licensing thing. I mean, I just think that it would set and establish, not that it needs to be necessarily like a government license or something like that, but it needs to be somebody that says an organization or an association of non-biased, non-bought people that said, this is the licensing standard, right?
ISC has entered the chat, and they would like to raise their hand and say that they already do that right now.
Yeah. And like, I think I'm good. They think they're good.
I'm trying to bait you into bashing a CISSP conversation.
I'm
Got him, chat. Got him, chat.
The CISSP is. I have a story here, a quick story. We have had multiple individuals with CISSP and more acronyms after their name in their signature block of their email that still ask us to do configuration and explain things to them. And I'm like, that's because
CISSP is an entry level cert. Didn't you hear that?
Well, listen, I can hang up on you. I can hang up on you. But everything is within relative. Like, I think we have all heard enough CISSPs talk before, and there's some good ones out there, but most of the time, the good CISSPs have been in the space for like 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. I'll even drop down to 10 or 15 years, right? Have not been marketing junkies and have actually had their hands dipped in the code and, working with command line and understanding what stuff does. And, we can't just say, oh, go get these certs and you're going to be paid, well into the six figures just because you've got these certs and it's going to be a showpiece. It's not how it goes.
No, instead you get to go be a affiliate for Black Cat ransomware and, make a $1.5 million on the side deploying ransomware as your consultant with your CEH hanging out at a junior associate level in a Big Four consulting company. Yeah.
And then you're going to go use AI to help you do the consulting engagement and come to find out near the end of the consulting document, it says, if I can drill down any deeper for you, please let me know.
Or it cited 4 sources that didn't exist, Deloitte in Australia.
Yeah. So
we're so screwed. We're so screwed in 2026, Jason.
We are. So okay, I've got the question for you. If we see these types of attacks that we've talked about here so far today, we see these types of attacks and they're successful, right? Where does that leave us sitting? Like, if you've got Fortinet, you've got Palo Alto, you've got all of this name brand stuff, but yet, one nation could pwn you. Like, where does that leave us? How does that make us feel for the rest of the day?
I mean, but here's the thing. Like, I mean, we've been in this industry for a long time now. Like, there is nothing, quite literally nothing, that anybody can do to stop cyber attacks. Period. Yeah. End of discussion. You can have all the BitLifts in the world. You can have all the Fortinets in the world. You can have all the Ciscos in the world. You can have all the Carbon Blacks in the world. You can have all the CrowdStrikes in the world. You can have all the PwCs, Deloittes, CyberArks, Splunks, Elastics, Queries, whatever. You can have all of them all day long. There isn't a single thing. There isn't a group of things. There is no recipe combination formula in the entire reality of the planet that will stop cyber attacks.
So I'm just playing this out here. Then what are we doing?
Maybe we should. Beard's got it right. Maybe we should just make cyber attacks illegal. That stops cyber attacks. Making something illegal definitely stops it.
Yeah. Again, we see that happening in Minneapolis. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be political here, but just because something is illegal doesn't mean that it's not going to take place.
But I mean, what are we doing here? Like this is the job, right? And I think this is what I think this is the point of the threat briefs is like there is stuff that happens, and you're never, ever, ever, ever going to be ahead of it. Ever going to be ahead of it.
Yeah. I think I'm drawing from two strings that you've mentioned here. So come back on the licensed individual, like a doctor or attorney, years of experience, right? If you and I were listening to a health program, take this for a second, because
I know I listen to a health program. I look at you and I wonder if you listen to a health program at all.
Hey, I need some words of encouragement here. You know, you keep sending me pictures, and maybe that'll encourage me. But the pictures are of a particular woman.
I was gonna say, way to rat out the pictures that I sent you. Thanks, Jason. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Sorry. But here's the thing: is I think that we would probably listen to. I know I would listen to a vetted individual, individual that has been in the space for enough time period where they've seen enough patients and enough things to derive their own opinion, and also somebody that's not just like pushing pills for pushing pills, right? You can sort of see that pretty quickly. Now, if you need a pill, I'm not against pills, but but if you take that concept and you apply it to the cybersecurity space, the other folks that I hear and listen to and even pay attention to are ones that are truly in the space, have some age and some breadth and depth to what they're talking about, and you can actually showcase and see they aren't winging it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where it needs to be. Now, when I started off in the in the space, I started my career in 1996 as a network admin. And I stayed very humble, because if you can kind of remember 1996 through, you know, the early 2000s, right? You had these network.
So this question on the chat, this person is 18. I'm sure that they do not remember 1996, 1997.
Yeah, they weren't born then.
So what was it like in 96 and 97 for those who may be a little bit younger in our chat?
So my apologies for skipping that. In this time period, folks, we had DSL being plugged straight into the core network.
Oh, yeah.
In most cases, because firewalls weren't very popular, and we had to do this mass education. People were like, why do I need a firewall? They didn't know what a firewall was. And
it was the greatest. If you were a modern day hacker, if you were a hacker today, going back to the 90s and seeing literally every piece of infrastructure that was just directly connected to the internet.
Yeah. And so if you ask yourselves, well, why do we have a 192.168.x.x networks, and why do we have these publics and all this sort of thing, is because at one point in time, like, the internet was this big connected network, and there was this big push. Well, you need to do NAT translation, and you know, you need to have your own firewall, and you need to have your own local network, and you need to get off the internet. Well, now we've run out of IPv4 addresses for the most part.
Allegedly,
they're pushing up to
allegedly,
yeah. But
they've been running out for 10 years, Jason.
I know. Hey, go talk to ICANN, man. You know. But so, if you're 18, okay, I wouldn't worry. Worry would not enter my mind.
No.
I think curiosity
Mhm.
would enter my mind.
Yeah.
I think if you can program yourself to remove worry and program yourself to be curious, that is what I would instruct you to do if you are 18 today, is be curious of all things.
Let's put it this way. To Jason's point, in the 90s, every computer system, every network was directly connected to the internet. And we had hackers who knew that at the time. I may or may not have partaken in some of that myself. And then all of a sudden the first firewall comes around and everybody starts putting firewalls in front of all their stuff. Do you think every hacker at that point in time went, well, that's it, hacking's over?
No.
They put firewalls in front of everything. Our days are numbered. We're never going to get into a system again because they're putting firewalls in front of everything. Right? It was a major advancement at the time. Right? Firewalls come into place. Nothing really changes. Hacks still happen. You know, that technology will continue to advance. And if you say, well, I want to operate in the past, I want to be a cybersecurity person based on the past world of cybersecurity, you're going to worry because the past is going to leave you behind.
Yeah.
The world is going to keep moving forward. You need to grab that bull by the horns and strap yourself in, and you need to move as fast as you can in that direction.
And since we're talking about like firewalls here for a second, think about this. In the 90s and early 2000s, firewalls then weren't what they are today. We didn't have, multi-layer detection and app detection and all of that. I mean, they basically came out with a front door that you put two Ethernet cables on. And
you're not wrong.
And then they sold it to you for, $10,000.
And it was like, chat, Jason's for real. Like, it was like, look, you put this thing here and it stops attackers.
Right.
And all it did was translate one set of IP addresses to another.
Yeah. Like, you still had to, and at that time, you still had to go and block the 65,000 ports.
That's right.
And only open and configure manually the ports that you wanted to open to that. And then you had people doing crazy nats. Like, oh my gosh. The word proxy was barely on the scene.
Yeah.
Now,
heaven help you if you had multiple depths to your network and you were trying to do NAT translation through more than 3. Did you try to do NAT translation through 3 routers? That is where the CCIEs come into play right there.
Yeah. Now CCIE, good. I believe a good certificate.
Yeah. Back in the day. Back in the day. I would say the last 10 years have been kind of
sketch.
It's kind of sketch, but yeah. More than 10 years ago, CCIE was that was as close as tech got to a doctorate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to Christmas time 2 weeks ago, Fortinet.
Oh, you had to pull more Fortinet vulnerabilities out, didn't you?
I did, because this connects. So you take stuff that was going on in the 90s and 2000s, and then you're like, well, how have we progressed? Is my job ever going to disappear? What are we doing here in cybersecurity, right? They actually come out and say, hey, there's an active exploitation against their Fortinet OS, SSL VPN, and there's a 2FA, multi-factor authentication bypass flaw, right? That is still being exploited even here at Christmas time.
Go back and look at every threat brief we've done this year, and you can almost guarantee that at least last year, thank you. You can guarantee at least every one, if not every other one, Jason is talking about some flipping Fortinet vulnerability.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, man, as big as you and I are on AI automation, what do you think about the whole N8N critical RCE that came out?
I mean, look, what's different about that than there is about the Fortinet vulnerability you just talked about, a Microsoft vulnerability that I'm sure we're going to talk about at some point in time on this stream, like a PHP vulnerability, an N8N, or I mean an NPM vulnerability. I mean, like, vulnerabilities are a way of life. What do I think about it? That shows that it's a real software under real scrutiny with real people looking at it that is just as susceptible as any other piece of software that exists out there. Yeah. I think this is a soapbox for me, because one of the things that I think we get really tied up on as an industry, I'm not saying you did this, but I think the industry as a whole does this, is, we see, like Neal's talking about N8N, Chuck, Network Chuck is talking about N8N. The industry's talking about using N8N. There's tons of N8N content on LinkedIn. There's tons of N8N content on Twitter. I know that I've introduced you and the BitLift team to N8N, and you guys have done some amazing work with N8N in the last 90 days, even with N8N. Like, N8N is taking off. So what? It had a vulnerability. Right. Just like Microsoft, you still use Microsoft after 30 years, don't you? Clearly, people are still using Fortinet after 20 years. People are still using Cisco after 20 years. How many of you have used Amazon, PayPal, insert any software out here that you use on a day-to-day basis? If you think that any software that you use, including the Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Safari browser, Windows Edge, Opera, like whatever you're on right now watching us on Twitch, hasn't had a vulnerability, you are absolutely delusional.
Yeah. You mean my Trust Wallet Chrome extension, isn't safe from the $7 million crypto drain from 2,600 wallets?
And that's what trips me. This is you and I have argued about this, not on stream. We've argued about this in private conversations. This is why I don't talk about vulnerabilities, because they're normalized. Yeah. Now, back in the day, you have a valid point. When Microsoft was the bee's knees on operating system, was the only choice you had. This is long before Apple had like really gotten good. I mean, this is like OS2 warp days. Like, we're talking like back in the day. Yeah, it was an absolute big deal for the one and only mainstream operating system to have this wide-ranging vulnerability where anybody on the internet could exploit it. I love you virus, right? That was a big deal to talk about. Over the days? No.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you, man.
I know you don't.
It's just interesting to me. I think that it shows, I think that, okay, you're a software company now, you're of a certain size, you're a target.
Yep.
And you're right. I mean, if you aren't getting CVEs or RCEs associated with you, hang on, because they're going to happen at some point.
100%.
Don't be 100%. Shocked when they do.
100%. I think what, and this is why, like, the thing that matters, the conversation that matters when it comes to exploits, and the N8N one is no different than Fortinet, patch, right? If you're using N8N in a production environment, the same way that you'd be using, the NPM packages that Shah Halud was exploiting a couple weeks ago, to the Fortinet vulnerabilities, to any of the Patch Tuesday stuff that we talk about from Microsoft, you should be having a regular patch management. This gets into something I wanted to talk about, which was the ROI of attack surface management. I actually found a really good article that talked about, attack surface management, the promise of attack surface management. And a lot of my pen testers and aspiring pen testers, will have a heartburn about this, because it's like everybody wants to talk about the attack surface and they want to talk about attack surface management. But the problem is that nobody can define the attack surface. Nobody wants to define risk that's associated with the attack surface. There is limited to no ROI to how modern day CTEM, vulnerability scanning, or attack surface management is done, because it shows you what is known about your environment. And what we have come to see over the years is that most exploits don't happen from what is known. Most exploits happen from what you didn't know about, what attackers were able to find. And then you've got the nihilist in the group who are like, oh, well, go get a pen test. And it's like, oh, so you're going to pay a dude $250 an hour, but only give him 20 hours a week, and he's got to do a full scope pen test where he goes from outside to inside, and you expect him to find everything on the attack surface once a year?
But wait a minute, I can go hire an AI pen tester for
don't even get me started on that. Oh, you looking for a fight on this Monday, aren't you?
Dude, I agree with this. Like we have these conversations in all the time. It's like we tell our customers, hey, we are gonna do some of our own investigation on your environment. Not that we don't trust you, but because we're not sure you know 100% about your organization, because that is what is going to trip you up.
Yep.
You're going to be like, oh, I didn't realize I got that machine stuck in the corner, still connected, or that marketing or, finance or somebody went and did some sort of project and never told IT. And then therefore it's not using SSO. It's, using another method of authentication. And so I agree on this. Attack surface management has got to be, okay, if I don't know anything about the environment, or let's treat it like I'm not 100% sure about my environment, that all of my documentation is best as possible. But let's also assume that I'm probably missing something.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not a lot of people like to think this way.
No.
But I would encourage people to think this way and challenge yourself and say, please go find what I haven't found.
I think people are afraid to admit that. Right. And rightfully, like I've sat in that position and chat when Bobby comes on this afternoon, feel free to ask Bobby about this, because Bobby and I would fight constantly about this, because he's like, I need to know what I don't know, Neal. And I'm like, I'm telling you everything that I can find. I'm trying to find what you don't know. It is a hard conversation to have with enterprise leaders about what you don't know.
Yeah. But see, the problem with that is I think that then you have a bigger issue.
Yes.
You
absolutely.
have either a pride issue, or you have something that's getting in the way of you actually being able to carry out the job that you've been hired to do.
1,000%.
Right? And it's like, listen, I'm not trying to personally attack you. I'm not trying to take your job, not trying to get you fired. I'm trying to be your partner here. And I'm also trying to do the job that you hired us to do, which is come alongside of you and be that other set of ears, that eyes and the ears of checking. You could be completely right, and that's great. But let me go validate it and come back and then say, yep, your document was 99%. Congratulations on being 99% correct.
Now, this is where I think AI does have promise, because what you just described is the limitation of humans. It is the limitation of you, Jason, to create all the hypothesis that says, where else are your assets hiding?
Right.
And AI and automation is a fantastic place to help you re-hypothesize all the places that you as a human don't have the capacity. Not because to your point, it's not an ego thing. You have a limited amount of life experience.
It's removing the emotional side of it.
Yep.
And that's why I like some of the AI tools that are out there.
Yeah.
Because it's not worried about offending a human being.
That's right.
It's worried about bringing non-biased information to the table.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
So if you are watching and listening, I hope that you can start to take that and move forward with that, because the quicker you can, the better you are going to have success inside your organization.
I have one more for you before we cut for this morning.
Yeah.
Because this is one that we rarely touch on, but it's something that has a great... there's a lot of momentum in the community over this topic, because it is one of the most talked about viral videos that happen in our space. And it's the Flipper Zero. And for those who don't know what Flipper Zero is nothing but a handheld SDR, software-defined radio. It does nothing magical that can't be done with any other SDR that exists out there. Hence my cynicism around anytime anybody's like, Neal, what do you think about Flipper Zero? Cool, you've got an SDR. Anyway, the reason I want to bring it up was I thought it was pretty interesting that the NYC Mayoral Inauguration Committee made a big deal about explicitly calling out that they were banning not just Raspberry Pis, but Flipper Zeros from the NYC inauguration last week, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it really shows how ignorant they are.
Yeah. Say more.
Because the device at the base level, as you've indicated, is relatively dumb.
Yeah.
It takes the skilled individual that's sitting behind said device to make it do what they want it to do. So did they ban Apple MacBooks?
Yeah.
And did they ban, Windows laptops? And did they ban all the rest? Like, that actually have more capabilities?
Exactly.
Exactly. My MacBook's got 24 gigs of RAM.
And most real SDRs are USB based anyway. So I'll just sit in my laptop in the building right behind, Mom Dami as he's giving his speech with my SDR, with my little USB SDR and my MacBook Pro, and do the exact same thing that Flipper Zero can do.
And so I think to this, what's happening here is this: you've got folks that are sort of ignorant of what is actually taking place. They hear a term, they're not really knowledgeable on the topic, and then they just make sort of a flippant decision. And you see that. I think if you were actually you need to sort of police this a little bit differently. But I don't actually think that, again, if they said, hey, we're going to ban these devices, I can guarantee you, just because they said they were going to ban those devices, somebody probably had something in there that should have been banned, But
I'm with you. I think it shows a vast amount of ignorance on somebody who says that. Somebody, it's a millennial generation that saw a bunch of these stupid ass, TikToks about Flipper Zeros doing stupid stuff. Brian talks about in chat. We were both exposed to a very, very petty adult who chose to have some fun with a Flipper Zero in Vegas with some of the monitors, and it was as cringe as you can imagine, from an adult to do so. But it just goes to show that it's you've got this very disconnected perception between what the capabilities of a device like that are versus what the capabilities of the real technology in the hands of somebody who is in fact skilled can actually do.
I mean, I encourage people to use devices for learning. And that's a wide range of devices, whether it's, Flipper Zero or other types of devices, but you need to go learn on those devices what is possible, what's not possible. And you also need to learn, if you're going to defend yourself from those types of devices, you need to know how they work.
Absolutely.
That's the whole drill and exercise mentality is we need to understand what's the drill going to look like? How do we exercise it? Right. And defend ourselves against it.
All right, Jason, we're over time. I super excited. High five. Glad to see you on 2026. Looking forward to many, 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 many more of these. Chat, real quick before I have Jason send us off, reminder, today is Monday, first Monday of the year. We're going to do Gone Fishing with Bobby today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking specifically about hackback and takedowns, hackback and takedowns. Looking forward to that chat, with Bobby, especially coming out of this Venezuela thing this weekend. We have Old Guy Wednesday happening Wednesday night. There's a surprise guest Wednesday night for Old Guy Wednesday. First time in a while that we've done Old Guy Wednesday, Jason, but I'm excited to have our guest come back Old Guy Wednesday, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. You guys are going to be really excited when you find out who the guest is. And then, of course, tea with a hacker on Friday.
Man,
and then
that sounds like an amazing lineup.
Right back to Monday again next week with you.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
This week is going to be fantastic. The first week of January is always a ton of fun. Planning, strategy, thinking about what we're going to accomplish this year. I mean, best of luck to you in all that you're going to do this week.
Absolutely. Jason, you and the BitLift team have a fantastic start of the new year. Chat.
Yeah, you too.
You guys stay awesome. We'll see you at 3 p.m.
I don't gotta speak for myself. The only lesson I was taught is always go teaching yourself. Cause nobody gon' do it like you. I don't respect being lied to. Hey, they just be holding me back. Ain't no telling what I might do. They wanna forward